Okay, Lori.
Here.
Here. Ginger here. Jeannie Kleckner. Here. Laura Jordan. Here. Teresa. Here. Corin. Oh, I got it. You want to sit. Okay. Jim. Emily. Yvonne. Here. Sanaa.
Yes.
Okay, the minutes from last month. I suggest to approve them. One second.
Second.
Okay. And now we'll go to visitor comments. Are you a visitor?
I am. But I wanted to come. My name's James Boyd. I'm the new Parks and Rec director. Started this past January, so I just wanted to introduce myself to everyone who's in Space Advisory Committee. And then just let you guys know, like I'm gonna pop in here and there just to listen to all the meetings and everything. So I just want to pop in and introduce myself first of all and say thanks for being a part of the committee and good names and faces. And I've been employed. I was with the city of Webster Groves for about 6.5 years. Prior to taking a job with the city of St. Peters, working with Direct Flex as their superintendent, and was fortunate enough to come back and now serving as the director. So I'm thrilled to be back in Webster and excited to be a part of a great team. So
Welcome back.
great, thank you.
Would it be helpful if we went around and said our names?
That would be great.
I'm Jim Rhodes. I'm
Yeah.
new.
Joined
That's
last.
my second meeting.
There you go.
You know me, Emily. Trevor, Yvonne.
I will reveal it, and I've been here since really the beginning of the year.
Cool.
Teresa Pollocky, same. Ginger Garrett, since 2014. What's wrong? And I'm the secretary, so.
Nice.
Laura Jordan, 2020.
Hi, boss. I'm Jeannie Kleckner. It's my second year. I'm the chair. Is Carrie coming? Does anyone know?
I haven't seen anything otherwise. I could text her.
So we've had a lot of transition. We have one brand new, two slightly new, and hopefully another new one next month.
We have 2 interviews tomorrow.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, well, you can come anytime. So our first order of business on the agenda is letting you know there have been 2 applicants for the vacancy on our commission since Liz needs to leave. And here's a card for Liz. I'll send that around. Even if you didn't work with her, I think you can just say, you know, something like thanks for your service. First so LICC. So there are 2 candidates that have applied and they'll be interviewed by the city council tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get the chosen person to join us next month. And then we'll be fully staffed. Okay. So now we're moving on to the next item, our identified work task for this year, 2025. And the first item is an update from Carrie. So in her absence, I will share that Emily is communicating with Carrie about the eco-ed tour of Brentwood Park. That wasn't you?
It is, but
Okay. Then this is a busy week for our commission. We have our meeting tonight. Wednesday is the Arbor Day celebration eco-ed combo. And then Saturday, we're invited to Eden Seminary for their tree planting for their sacred Sacred Grove. So busy week for our commission. Yvonne, would you like to say anything about the Arbor Day?
Arbor Day. So just as a checklist, we aren't making any of the flyers or programs. But we're gonna run it just how we normally do, where you can say hello to everyone. And then have the scouts present the flags, and then the mayor will do the proclamation. I'll type this up for you. And then we'll do the tree of distinction. So, who is in charge? Okay, and so I have the awards and everything for that, so I have that ready for you. And then the tree steward. I'll remind Emily Glenn.
You had said
He's gonna be out of town, so he's still, as far as I know. Okay, so I have the awards, and then you'll say thank you. And then invite everybody to stick around for the eco ed. And then do the flag closing.
What time is this, and where is it?
Ivory Crockett Park.
Yes, Ivory Crockett at 5:30. We're going to get there at 5 and plant some trees. And then right after that, as soon as it looks like everybody is there, we can start out.
Oh, Gary. Just talking about eco ed and Bond talked about Arbor Day this week. Is there anything you would like to say about eco eds?
We did get Scott Woodbury rescheduled for July 2nd. And I have one of these, everybody. It's got the remaining schedule on the back of this as well. So other than that, there's been no change. I'm gonna be leaving, I think, with Emily shortly, or in the next week or so, a couple of weeks, about the Eco Ed event in September. But I have to nail down a few more details about that.
So going well.
Yeah, and I talked to Billy and he's confirmed for his coming.
Does he want to plant the big tree or little tree or just?
He's gonna be, he wants to show pruning and
Turning, okay,
maintenance.
okay,
He said as long as there's a few little trees around for him to work on, which we're going to be, that would be fine.
okay. And then I guess if we get the trees planted very quickly, anybody who's there wants to help weed the rain garden would be great. So we'll be busy.
But I told him to be there no later than 5:00.
Hey, any questions, comments about eco ed? Our next item is no mo April update. And this is separate from normal April, but I'll pass this around in case you want to take a picture of it. This is our roadmap, everybody who signed up for different things. I didn't print it out since we're gonna get a new person next month. But if you want to take a picture of that or just look at it, pass it around. So I typed up some information from Normal April and I'll share that. So we ordered 50 new signs. And in addition, residents returned 8 signs. So 9 were sold and the 8 previously used signs have been used again. So a total of 17 signs moved out of the rec center. I don't think we need to order signs next year. We have 41 signs remaining.
I interject something. So the good news though, we had 36 people sign up and take the pledge, so there may have been people that didn't need a sign. And they were coming in even as of like a day or two.
Yeah.
So
And I think a lot of people keep their signs, cause I definitely saw more than 17 out.
yeah, so I think I think those were 36 new people. So,
And every submission that we got, I would respond back and tell them that, you know, they can stop by and purchase their signs, so hopefully we'll see an increase as they come in. But
So there was a sort of formal sign up for the NOMO. Is that what
It's
Um,
on the website.
yeah.
Just take the flash.
I did it without touching.
You can.
That's okay.
At the end, you know, I was hand cleaning. That keeps it getting bigger. But I made it to May because I couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
And then I went around and I still have big stands of flowers that grew in the yard. And so I just put it around. But
I hope there's pictures.
I do have pictures actually, yes.
So some things that I did this year, I took 2 signs to the library and 25 flyers. And when I went to get the signs, there was just 1 flyer left, so 24 of them had been taken. And it really did look like, the library maybe, either the rain or intentionally, they went a little into no mo. I took 2 signs and 25 flyers to Maypop and I regathered those signs. In addition, one of the employees there said, "Oh, do you want a sign from the basement?" I was like, "Yeah." So she went downstairs and brought up, so I effectively got 3 signs back from them. And then had taken 2 signs and 25 flyers to Rolling Ridge. All the flyers were gone, as well as Maypop, all the flyers were gone. Rolling Ridge never put up their signs, which I know this, because I drive by there at least once a week. And when I asked at the cashier stand, and she went to the manager's office to retrieve the signs, the manager told her that she had a conflict with the signs because they sell grass seed. So I just didn't have the time to talk to her about that, but generally, if you do put grass seed, you don't mow. But anyway, next year, maybe just flyers for Rolling Ridge. So I have collected those signs and I'm gonna keep them in my basement and bring them to the places next year, because as I suspected and was illustrated by Maypop, they don't have the wherewithal, the bandwidth to remember, oh, it's the end of March.
And also, aren't they like changing ownership right
Yeah.
now?
And employees, I would imagine they might have, their locker. So, next year, I'd like to add some additional places. Maybe get a start before mid-April, that would be a good thing. So to put it on the agenda like in February, so we'll start talking about NOVO. And, Corin sent a letter, since he's absent, and talked about 3 different topics, and this is what he says about NOVO. From his perspective, NOMO April went very well. He saw lots of signs, lots of people participating, very little negative social media this time, which he handled as best as he could. It still may come later in the month or next if various properties don't resume mowing. So that is an update on NOMO. I was hoping to have some pictures I've been taking organized, but I was technically challenged and do not have those pictures. I have a dream of making a bit of a slideshow to instrumental music and typing in "thank you for participating," with the hopes that we could maybe get it on the website. And I do plan to send a montage of the pictures with a little thank you to Webster Corporate Times later this week. I'll get that done. Anything else about NOMO? Okay, so now our next item is to discuss the video update. And that is at this point kind of Corin's project, even though Jim and I are also on that initiative, but we're hoping that Corin's students will pull through. So here's what he says. my Webster students are working on a native plants video as a class project. The hope that the Green Space Advisory Commission, will like it and want to use it for our public education goals. It isn't done, but should be a finished product by next month for our evaluation. I don't know if it's any good yet, I haven't seen it. If we do like it, I propose that we remunerate them using some of the funds we reserve for this purpose. If not, my students will get a hopefully good grade anyway, and we will not need to take further action. So I would like to bring to the table, we do have money in our budget for our video projects. I'm hoping my little no-mo one and this one from Horn students will give us, check the box for this year, and then we could add more next year. I suggest somewhere between $500 and $1,000 are the students who share and split, with Corin deciding the amount depending on the length and quality of the video.
How many students are there?
He teaches a sustainability test, so it's like college level class, so I would guess.
So we're not a,
15 to 20.
we're not like a videography class or.
What are you doing?
On the website. Webster Arts website.
Okay, I mean, you have to pay to be on the website?
Say something. There's a green space page.
I just wonder what the money would actually be used for,
Their time.
their time.
To pay the students for making.
A stipend.
Oh, sites, okay, I didn't understand.
Value there, sorry.
Alright.
Wondering how much core feels is the appropriate amount for the
Yeah.
students.
He and I have discussed it, it's in that ballpark.
Okay.
I sent you my photos.
What's that?
I sent you my photos of my yard.
Oh, is that what you said?
And I haven't seen them, but I can tell you they're good. Great, that's a great.
Thank you.
I would think that's a good idea to support the students, I'm sure that.
Yeah.
I would love to see it maybe before, and then Corin's gonna be the judge on quality or length. I think that's important to be able to decide on a amount to give to them, but that seems like a good rate.
Well, and I would imagine if it works out well, that his students next year would be willing to do another of the videos. We had a list of videos we're gonna make. I like that.
I'll just say that I think videos are an enormous amount of time, so. You just don't understand the amount of time that can you spend in editing, putting this thing like that together, so. Yeah. That's not a lot of money for,
It's not,
Yeah.
and especially depending on how many of them.
And I'm not super familiar with like how the city pays out for stipends and things like that, but I'm sure you will be able to navigate that. But work.
Should college students would appreciate it.
I know it's
Right.
never like as easy as
Sorry.
simple as you would want it to be to pay things out like that.
Carrie, how much did you say that you recently? I remember being on.
Oh, that was for us, was that a video or a sign? I think I was talking about
Oh.
signage. Yeah, it was a lot,
It's more than you would imagine.
yeah.
So do we wanna say 500 to 1,500 then? And kind of let Corin
I think,
make the ultimate.
I guess I would make a motion to save that 5 to 1,500, but then. I think. Getting Corin to confirm with us what that is and if it's worth. Yeah, that. Not just say right here, right now, it's worth 1,500.
So we want details, how many students.
Yeah,
Please,
okay.
please. And I agree with what you said. I don't know how it would be handled in the budget by the city, in areas that I've worked in the past, stipends are very there's a lot of rules.
Yeah.
That's why I'm paying this, so.
That's my experience as well.
Yeah, so it would be
But we'll-
good to be better informed, so we don't commit to
Definitely.
something that we really can't do. And I would like to hear if Corin has, some ideas on what would be appropriate. It's depending, because maybe it's something other than a direct stipend, I don't know. I don't know if there are rules, he's at Webster, right? Around paying the student stipend for things like this. I don't, just
So
don't
how
have,
would I access the rules?
well, he would,
I think
Well,
on the
that's
city
for
side,
Webster.
James says.
I can check into it
Check.
for that. Just as far as like, we'd have to maybe see what the purpose of the video is, what is the, like, is it for the educational?
Like under
For the
publishing.
Yeah,
It's part of the budget, so I mean, I think it fits in the budget, I just don't know about like. the
Yeah, we did
mechanism.
budget for it.
I can find all that out.
Thank you.
Like,
Appreciate it very much.
And you said you talked to Corin about what would be good payment.
It was in that homework.
And he might be waiting to see the finished product, you didn't know like which end of the ball probably.
He said he hasn't seen it,
Yeah.
so he doesn't even know. if
Yes.
it's, of a good quality.
maybe in
But it's
between
their
that,
final-
maybe we can get more information
Yeah.
and talk about it.
They're probably wrapping up their semesters.
So we'll discuss next month again. Okay. Now, we're gonna talk about signage. So tonight, you were gonna check into the cost of the in-house, oh, you brought an example. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's great.
Simple, what we can make, but it's really, what we really want to do is something, an example of it is just little, thing here. It shows like a little, curve, stream and, our logo, and then this would be, under that. And so, if we can orient it this way, that would even be better. And then, my sign shop got creative and they were drawing pictures and stuff like this. It's of course really nice to show it something like this, but that's beyond our, well beyond our capability. And so blue as the background color was something on a more simple sign that we thought that would apply. But overall, we have delineation of watersheds within our community. It's a more general map. So these would correspond to those locations where you would be leaving a watershed and entering a watershed. So in one direction on the road, you will see this. On the reciprocal side, you will see the other watershed. So in all cases, we will be entering a watershed, really, different watersheds at that delineation, depending on the direction of travel that we're in. We have 3 watersheds, 3 sub-watersheds within our community: Gravois Creek, McKinsey Creek, and Deer Creek. And so then at all those locations, these signs would appear. The chosen sign would appear to inform our public driving.
So these are signs placed where usually if it's a high point, like a ridge.
Yes, exactly.
Where you're gonna be going down into a
Yes.
watershed, so
Yeah.
it'd be like you are entering your
Yes.
watershed.
This won't apply, this type of arrow, but it could be a straight arrow or entering.
Yeah, that knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you can do
Thank you.
the wavy line, like, not the one, the picture
All right,
that your helpers
we
did.
can, yes.
Okay, cause that, I've seen that, that looks nice.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen other signs that have the wavy. That's,
So we can, we're in the process of updating our software. With that, we can actually do some, download some of that into our software and cut it. So there's a film here that's cut, and so the film on the top is cut for the letters. And so if we can cut the wavy line too, then we can make that happen. Yes.
And how much does an in-house sign like that cost?
About less than $100.
And
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
so this would be like above it,
Yeah.
that we're saying.
Yeah, so I don't have it now, but yes, and the wording would be below that figure.
Does Webster have a code? coat of arms. Or-
I was wondering. the same thing.
Because we could do a play on the Missouri flag that shows the two rivers. That picture kind of, you look at that, the coat of arms of Webster has a coat of arms.
I think I just see like the W and the G, that's all,
It's like a rolling stuff.
yeah. It's strong. But I bet Tina can help us find something that.
Yeah.
It says
Play
like,
off.
it's small, but kind of reads. And then I know on like the podiums, there's like a big oak tree carved. I don't know if that's necessarily our like coat of arms.
Yeah, or actually, I think it's the fleur de lis. The Missouri, yeah, or St.
I say, oh, okay. It would be really nice to have something that show.
That tree that has sort of become Webster's.
Yeah, that's like what's on the, like the podium that shows up at, you know, fire awards or
Yeah.
Arbor Day or something like that.
That could be in that
Yeah, that out
center
there.
and that do the two.
Kind of going around the tree. It also kind of looks
Yeah,
like
that's
the burrow.
fire.
And that's one.
Can you-
It has, wherever this was, it has something probably to denote their city as well, because they've put us here in the Webster. Yeah. Well, is this
Jackson,
in
New York?
Webster?
No, but I think it's not that, the Webster.
Gotcha.
Webster logo, maybe our logo.
Yeah.
You are, anybody working with the arts commission on anything that maybe there has some art, see. My daughter.
Sorry, I love that. Yeah. Good job.
You know, someone in the.
No, but Tara on staff is the public. Communications. Yeah. The other, she does like website and posts and outreach and all like the outreach and communications for the city. So I think she has kind of like a library of.
I don't believe we can put on all those.
So you'll check with her? It's dangerous coming to a meeting.
Getting all sorts of stuff. The other thing I've seen, sorry.
That's all right.
I was just driving through Ladue and they have, basically a sign, their blue Ladue sign with their flower, but it says like they, just say Black Creek.
Yes.
So they're calling out the creek as you're crossing the creek, so that's,
As you cross the creek,
right,
right.
so that's
That's a
something
good
else.
thing.
Because if we looked at a map, we could see how many
Yeah.
signs there would be for crossing
Usually,
versus, or how many signs there are for watershed location.
Yeah, we have some of those stone walls that go over the bridges that may be a sign instead of having a post and a sign that we could put it on the actual bridge. To save one more sign.
Right. Shade gray, clean, crosses a few times.
So we're gonna look into artwork and. Would it be use on determining how many signs?
Yes.
Where we place them and how many? Or would that be you, Eva?
So one of the things with the MUTCD, the manual on uniform traffic control devices that we need to follow on our roadways is that things like this that are customized need ordinances in communities, and so might need a council action on it, but I can bring that information back or share with Yvonne and James and then what's needed for us to act on this, and which would be good also, because I think overall we will all know based on what we will install these signs in terms of kind of a policy.
Like a plan and that plan as well. And that policy.
But then along with that, we can determine the number of signs needed as well.
So we did budget for it, so
Yep.
it's in our budget.
Yep.
It will somehow come from the general budget and go to works.
Was there a budget for both this year and the coming year? I feel like there was. Yeah, so we could,
Both.
there's still time and, you know, room to do it in 25's budget if we could, and then we can do some work.
Sure,
26's budget, I think. They would approve 26's budget, yeah, but I think that was part of it.
Yeah, it would need to be done. Pretty much this month. or the bill paid before July. So.
Okay.
Thank you, the sign is beautiful. Did you make that one?
There.
Yeah, our sign shop made this. Yeah, there's some flaws, but so we need to make it better for the real.
Something could be noticeable, someone walking or traffic on that. And so like,
Yeah, it really stands out.
is there anything I can do or anyone else on the commission to help expedite? Maybe getting some done for this year? To just the cost for this year's budget and next year's budget, we have more.
Well, let me check first to make sure that if I need an ordinance or not. And so that would be the most help that I would need, because I know there's only 4 meetings left
Yeah.
for the year, for fiscal year. And so not to rush things into council for this, maybe we can have something done this year to cover maybe a sample or something, and then next year we can get working on the ordinance. But I'll first verify that we need that the ordinance for it, check on the MUTCD and get back to you on that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Ron, do you wanna like bring the sign so it's on the,
Okay,
just so it's on the video a little
oh
bit?
yeah,
For those watching later,
yeah, sure.
cause I don't think anybody's on right now, but
Jeannie, I don't know if
there you go.
anyone
Oh, it's backwards.
on this.
I'll tell you.
So they can see it in the
Right.
air.
Yeah.
as they go.
It's just a lot bigger on the screen than this.
I don't know if anybody's on a subcommittee about the signage, but maybe that subcommittee would just wanna look at some ideal locations, like to kind of come up with some quantities to that public works could springboard off of, like if we were gonna prioritize, we would want a sign here and there. Where do you think
There's a lot of people. Corin, Laura, Carrie, Rory, Jim.
But, or is that part of what you're already doing, Sonana's kind of like figuring out where you would,
Determine the location.
yeah,
Yeah, based on the map, we can do that, locations, but we can let you know, so you can have a look too, to see if that's a good fit, or. I mean, it doesn't have to be on this, right on the line, I think, coming up to it somewhere, wherever is a good location. So,
Would it make sense for us to do sort of an offline check-in at some point between, when is the fiscal year?
end of June.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of time, but not.
But like you said, if we do need an ordinance, we don't have very much time.
No,
Well,
right.
I don't know what the budget we have is for signs
Yeah.
at this point, but I know we've got the park sign views that we could kind of see.
Or is it just a very, very idea?
This
Or the
is
rain
the
garden
information
sign.
or
That
just
we
we
would No, those are replacing signs that we once had, so we would just have the graphics made and put back on the board.
Have full size too, so we could.
Oh, okay.
Add right.
For those, there's a little bit more information, it's this just. That. You know, here's an arrow, this is where it starts.
Yes.
For those,
For the.
yeah.
This is just straightforward, here it's, there's the bridge there.
Yeah.
Well, this one is for,
Right, no, this has a lot
Oh,
more
okay.
information, I just
Sorry.
wondered, I was thinking, would it make a sense for a
Yeah, these are,
stick on QR code or something like that?
well, it's mostly gonna be like drivers.
Yeah. That's what.
Too fast.
So this, we already have a sign for Larson Rain Garden, but it's all bubbled up. So we still have the wood and we still have the frame, so this would be basically, I'm thinking I might even get a price from Sticker Mule to see about, what do you think about that? And then they could just make a sticker, it goes right on top. And it'll last a while.
I've been talking to the graphics about some signs and for school. My garden at school. They might be able to Actually, I think the sign out design for the garden is the same size as that, so I can see how much that is.
24 by 18.
But they do that harder board that is.
What quote did they give you?
I haven't got one yet.
Okay. So
Did they get one to you?
they're the ones that said, oh, this could be anywhere from 3,000 to 8,000, like it was really ridiculous.
Did you send them the art?
No, I sent them the size and showed them a picture of what it was before. And so I think it was ridiculous, but I think if we got this done with sticker mule, it would probably be $200.
Sounds good to me.
Does Sticker Mill make any promises or regarding UV light damaging their stickers?
No, but I think Doug told me that you guys had this film that you can put. And then that's supposed to help with the UV, so.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
And the DRG also has those signs pretty durable, but I don't know if they.
Well, I can send you what I get for the quote for the thing I'm working on.
Okay, and I can send,
No,
if
'cause it's
everybody's
similar.
good with this wordage, then I will just send it to
It's great.
them as well, and Stockerville will get it followed.
No, that's.
Did you make the sign that's there for it?
No, I think that was a collaboration with Deer Creek Watershed, no. They used to. It's obviously that.
So it's been there.
Oh, yeah, it's been there 14 years.
So it lasted a good long time.
I have a lot of experience with river roads from my wife and I used to live in Glendale, the area behind our house was a very low spot and it would fill with water because we're at the bottom of this hill and the water would get this deep. We actually had ducks back there one time. And so I put in some river roads the river roads really, those first conditions, they spread quite well.
Well, I'm good with that. Is there any copyright infringement or is it very copyright?
No, I think I would need to,
Signer.
first.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This image I did. So we might need the city to, unless you've got pictures of. Anybody have pictures of the side or rest of the roads. Or river,
Oh, okay. Yes. We can.
probably, actually, I probably have, Jerry probably has.
Okay,
Probably did those.
everything else is original. We'll have to work. Thank you. So is everyone good with? What's the dollar limit of, you don't wanna go above, and let's say in graphics comes back?
Well, I think originally I put $1,200 in.
Was that for two signs though, cause we still wanna do the prairie, Lockwood Park Prairie?
Well, I think it was for one.
Okay, I think we're in really good shape, so.
If we could get that one done again, this fiscal year.
Yes, this one, and then if we could get the prairie side one.
Or next fiscal.
Oh, I think we could do both now, especially, I mean, I think I'm probably gonna get both of them done. Under $500.
Is there a report that comes out monthly or something on what our budget is and what we spend?
I
We don't know.
send it.
There isn't a report like that. I mean, we don't have that frequent expenses.
I know, we having conversations about money and I don't know how much I know how much we budgeted, I just don't know how much we spend.
Yeah, I can send it to you. I can send it to her.
But
We spent pretty much our budget out of like Arbor Day and Eco Ed type of snacks and different things, the awards, you know, added up quite a bit for Arbor Day. But you still have your printing money hasn't been touched really. And there's the publishing. So there's still quite a bit.
yeah, it would help to have it so that we one, if there's something that we've already spent that we don't see there, we can deal with that. And if we're having conversations about how we might allocate funds that are in our budget, it would be helpful.
So sounds like some really good forward movement with the signage. Thank you both. Anything else about signage?
Did everybody read over this? Is there any issues with the text? And this is the sign itself is that size, font and everything good, so maybe just look at it before you go.
Okay. Our next topic is, oh, you did your signage. Oh, related, well, kind of related, Yvonne, I have a question based on the minutes from last month about upping our level with Tree City. So what do we need to do? I don't know if I brought the minutes with me. Do you have them, teacher? In the section about the Tree City luncheon, there was a question about upping our level of recognition in Tree City.
So we were talking about the arboretum,
That's what that Marcus Blackbird Park and Arboretum.
because we were talking about maybe looking at Blackburn, like a level 1 or something. We did talk about arboretum levels at the last week, so.
Something with great.
Maybe that's right.
for level 3.
Do you know offhand what the requirements are to bump up?
Well, it would be starting, so it's not a recognized arboretum at all yet. So it would be figuring out how to do that, and then your level starts at level 1.
Is that this something that would be valuable to Webster Groves?
Yeah, I think you could go for a growth award with that, possibly.
But the Tree City USA distinction is given by the Arbor Day Foundation. And the Arboretum certification is from an organization that certifies Arboretum across the country. So they're 2 different organizations. And you can fit, I think it's like 4 or 5 levels of Arboretum certification from this organization. So it would be separate from anything we're doing with Tree City already. But it could, if we did do that, I think that could get us more points for Tree City, but I'm not sure how we're able to use those points really if we're not gonna be able to do granting. And that's really what that gets you is opportunity to do more grants. Or the potential to get a grant awarded, so it's not a guarantee.
And I mean, just knowing what is on green spaces plate, to me, that's sort of but at the end of the gigantic list of features that you guys are gonna have.
So not a priority right now.
I can't imagine being able to personally take the time to look up and find out what constitutes an arboretum and all that would go with it, but I think it's worthwhile down the road once you check off some of these other projects.
So
Dog
maybe
years
next year.
or a future project.
Okay.
Maybe when we do the planning for 27.
Yeah, I mean, as I come across the subject, I'll most certainly just look and see what it is.
Okay. Next topic is the grant subcommittee update from Rory. And Rory, in the minutes from last month, it was suggested the next step would be to meet with James Arscott.
I do recall that. I didn't see it in the minutes, but also, tell me if I'm misremembering, but I think we had some discussion and there was a sort of a stop and wait to hear from the city what the appetite was for us doing something like this. I tell you this, in the last month, I haven't done any work on it because I was in that stop, wait and see mode as to whether it's something that we should go forward with at all.
I don't know that we have enough to take to the city for a determination yet, do we? Of what we want to do, what the plan is, like what we want to go out for the grant for, or do we have that ready?
I mean, we have bits and pieces of it. I'm happy to put something together. I thought that coming out of the last conversation, it was a little less, structured than that, the discussion that needed to be had.
It is an approved work task for this year. And presumably we'll get the approval for next year as well. Do we need additional approval? Emily?
We need to know like what we're proposing and maybe some, like, I know we have a list of possible donors, but like, or possible sponsors, but like who are, this is our proposal and we would like to take it to this and a little bit more before you can kind of.
Yeah, we would need a lot of detailed
Review it.
information with it. A lot of grants will have stipulations. I mean, there's so many different types of grants, I don't know. We need to have.
So it's a balance, right? Like, I don't want you to do a ton of work. You should write the grant and like do all of that kind of detail, but we need enough information about the opportunity and kind of what we wanna do so that we can take it to the city and say, is this okay? Can we move forward with this with the, cause the city does have grant resources to help with that. They're working on other things as well, so just for this green space grant would kind of fit in with the other grant priorities.
Lori, you and I are on the grant subcommittee, so we can maybe get together before we meet next month. And kind of package it. So that then the package can go to James or to Emily. Does that sound like the next step?
I'm not sure what the next step is, actually. I mean, we can pull together all the pieces and we would certainly do that if we were, preparing to have even an introductory discussion with a funder about applying to their entity for funding for it. My understanding the last time that we talked was we didn't want to go towards that step until we had an agreement in concept internally as to whether or not this would be something. But I hear you saying that, it's already been decided that we would explore this. Gosh, I feel like the federal government and facilitate, how far exploring can we go?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to approach someone and
No,
then have the city say, oh, no, we're not interested in doing that, especially in the environment that we're in right now. And I don't know what the competing thoughts are for the city.
well, maybe it's just writing up kind of where you are, like, this is the research we've done, this is the need that we've identified, here are some of the potential sponsors. Are we kind of okay to contact them, to look at next steps to go further? Would that be kind of what you would need?
Yeah, I just need some information that I could.
We just talk offline then,
Yeah,
and I mean, I'm happy to put that together.
I don't think it has to be super formal, I think it just has to be enough information so that a determination can.
Well, all the pieces are there.
Right, I think
There's a
there's a lot.
proposed job description, there's the research of 6 potential funders. There's the piece of other job descriptions we acquired.
Yeah,
So
so when
all
we
the
were
pieces
talking
are there.
last time, the idea was maybe not putting in the grant to fund a volunteer coordinator, but the grant is to do this initiative and the budget includes the volunteer coordinator.
Right, that was the
And
approach
so I
that I
don't know
was
if we have
suggesting.
that all written up. Yeah, like, and all right, like, like it doesn't have to be
Okay,
pages,
all right,
but enough to, send out.
all right. Who are I guess we can talk about the decision makers and the whatever hurdles we need internally. Again, I don't want to take this too far if there's just no appetite for it.
Yeah, it'll probably be Yvonne Snow, James and Dr. People.
Yeah.
Because when I think Scott was the one I felt
Scott,
like
yeah.
was very like, wait a minute, a grant kind of thing, so. I understand what you're saying,
Yeah,
if there's no appetite for getting a grant, what's the,
yeah, I understand that too, and I know we've talked and circles around a variety of meetings, so I totally hear what you're saying, I just don't know that we have something that can get a determination yet, but I think we're close to that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some places that aren't on that list that I would start looking at, like, state agencies and things like that, It would just, we'd have to tailor the approach and the proposal that we put together to what they generally fund and what they would accept. I think that the nugget in all of this that I've heard consistently is this volunteer coordinator. But, so why don't we meet in between now and the next meeting? We'll put something together. Then Scott seems to be someone who is, important in this. I don't know if Dr. Pickles needs to see something. I would just like to get to the point where whomever can kill it will say, I'm not going to. That sounds okay to me.
I think it'd be good, we can get together, but next meeting, you and I can get the meat and potatoes together, I can learn more about it as well. Scott's my supervisor, the deputy city manager, the Dr. Peoples is the city manager, so I would definitely, obviously, want their approval and blessing on it, so that'd be something to start with.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, it started, we've got a lot of components that people have worked on,
Definitely,
so, okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
no problem.
That's it. Let's move on.
Would you like me to be part of that?
Yes. Absolutely.
So the three of us
Mhm.
sit down, so I'll follow up the meeting.
Do you have a card?
I'll get you one right after. Yeah, great.
Okay. We have, let's see. The Safe Streets update, I'm not sure what to say about it. It's been on the mid budget the last month and this month. See table something's.
Yeah.
Are there any
I don't have any
updates?
it's not something I'm updating on, so I don't have anything pressing. I don't know if there's a pressing update or if we just wait till.
Developing cost estimate for the planning and demonstration projects, that's the current grant, and we're also going for, I don't know if this is confidential information. We're going for another grant application, so not confidential, I mean, it's of course for us, but for the public, so because it's a competitive grant. So implementation grant is for making some of these planning and demonstration grant projects a permanent application in Webster Groves, or others that would be based off of the same type of concept. Mostly what we are looking for is improving safety on our roadways for all users. So that's what's going on.
Will you keep us posted if there's whatever a need or a way for green space to plug in?
Yes, for sure.
Now dark skies, Foreign wrote. Sustainability did vote to endorse the dark sky ordinance update that Corin wrote. Although he doesn't know if they officially sent word via their staff liaison, Sean Finnegan, up to the next level. We do not need to take any further action, just wait for word from the city, various levels of approval. Perhaps Yvonne, Sanan, or Emily will know more about that in terms of departmental head approval. And before I ask you guys, I'll pass this around. This was an article I didn't send out on an email. But the arch is turned the exterior lights off May 1st through June 1st to help migrating birds. So I'll pass that around. You can look at that. So Emily, Yvonne, Sanan, anything to add as it escalated?
James.
Everything's been submitted higher up, so it'd just be waiting on work back.
Okay. We have some gardens that need tending. Currently, Carrie, do you do the Larson Park?
I have recently, I've actually been down there.
So yours recent?
Well,
No, I don't think either one of us have claimed it, we've just both worked in it. It needs clean on?
yes, so the only two left would be Ivory Rocket and the rain garden. So my staff has had to go clean the other ones up.
I do the concrete garden.
Uh-huh. Could they get it on a mowing, like were they gonna mow it down?
The rain garden?
Yeah.
Oh. We can.
What were you, well, last year I think you mowed and then we went and did an extra cleanup and
Okay,
pulled a lot of stuff out by hand and, cleaned up path edges. You know, like you guys just did like a rough pass through.
okay, we could do that. It might be. But I'll let.
Is that the Larson Park rain garden
Yeah.
you're talking about?
Be up for doing that.
Because also on the list, you had the garden behind City Hall.
We took care of it.
But do you want someone to take it this year?
Yeah, and I don't think it will take much because the plants have really filled in and just needs to, maybe once a month, you just walk over there and pull out anything that's.
So we have two gardens needing a caretaker.
I could potentially do the one at City Hall. Show me stuff. I can just pop over and
Text,
grease,
you
you
know,
know.
me over there. Yeah, I don't think it will take long because it's.
And if someone would want a garden but not Ivory Crockett Park, I could take that one and you could have the concrete garden, which is the entrance to the parking lot off of Blackwood. Is someone else interested in taking a garden? That one's pretty easy.
I like easy.
Yeah, and so we're gonna do what's called the Chelsea shop. Where we're gonna go in and reduce the height of all the plants. And maybe do that twice, and then they'll bloom at a lower height than the fall cup, so. So if you show up there to weed and you're like.
At the concrete garden. Anybody
Are we
available?
looking
I mean,
for-
so if I did the City Hall, like the country garden is also like right there, right? So I
And
could
you
do
could
one
join
of
us,
those.
clean up.
I mean,
one
of them I just can't get to. Till June.
Well, this is a range.
Doesn't ring this, right? It's just the version.
What if you
Got
went
no-
out to
Yeah.
Ivory Crockett Park?
I was thinking of
that
Saturday morning.
Maybe we can do that on our
No,
day.
she said
as
she
first
was.
go around, they're up for it.
So are you coming to Arbor Day Wednesday?
Feel free to, I accept it.
So we'll do it Wednesday and Thursday.
I mean, I did the City Hall one a few years ago.
So
And there
So
wasn't
the
much.
two of you will
Yeah, we can take.
kind of share City Hall.
Yeah,
we could concrete garden.
I got it. And I hate to leave, I have to go, I'll watch the video for the remaining minutes, but if you guys can, somebody just say like at the end, like it's whatever time the meeting is adjourned. That'd be excellent, because sometimes I have to like, so. figure it out.
Okay, and then we'll see you Wednesday.
I will be there.
Next item is just to remind everyone, we're invited Saturday seminary. The mayor's gonna speak, there'll be a ceremonial tree planting. And then on the invitation on the website, it says they're gonna plant 1,000 plants in a third of an acre. And I believe it's happening like that. So. You're invited to that. So. Yeah, it's 6 o'clock. You wanna bring this up next?
Yeah, I need to do more research on that anyway, so I don't really have anything to share with it. But if anyone wants to, someone sent me I know it's you, they want to send the ordinance. It's so very thorough, but I want to do some research on this, and if anyone has ideas. I'd be open to hearing from
Thank you. Emily.
Don't have a budget update yet, we're still in the middle of budget season, but should have one, in 2 to 4 weeks, I would say. Or before the end of, or June. So that's that, and then just a general reminder about, public meetings. So we have our public meetings here, they're a forum and they're recorded for everyone, and so our meeting business all has to take place here. We can't have a meeting that's like, if we email everybody and people are emailing back and forth, that's considered an electronic meeting, which I know is weird to those of us that do copy lots of people in our day jobs. And so when you're emailing on the commission, I would recommend like sending it to Jeannie or maybe like copying the liaisons if you want to, but blind copying all the commission members to just prevent replies. It's fine to send something out if you like wanna send something out, you just don't wanna have a conversation back and forth in the email.
So if I send a follow-up email, I should BCC.
Yeah.
Everyone?
Yeah, and that way there's no, there's not a way for them to like reply all and kind of keep it going. But in general, if we're talking about things as a commission, it should be at a public meeting.
Anything else to share or update us?
We've sort of hidden that the zoning said that, I don't know.
I have a much smaller copy of it. Ours is highlighted right there.
I haven't looked at this at all.
Okay, and I asked her if I should share with the commission and she said, sure, but I don't, maybe wait till after tomorrow.
Kind of what Rory was asking about, right? Like what our budget was and what we spent.
Well, this is for this current fiscal year.
So she sent it to you too.
Mhm.
Okay, I think those were the proposed budget reduction.
Wasn't sure what, this referred to percentage change, was it
Yeah.
from 2024 to 25?
Yeah.
So our year-to-date spending is 200. And our fiscal year, but our current fiscal year budget was 5,550.
Recommended removing the 5,200.
Well, was the budget I proposed in February was the exact same as the one from this year, just 9,500.
We haven't discussed with council,
Okay.
we haven't gone through with
Probably-
council all the. And we had all the commissions obviously present and we have all that, but we haven't had the council meeting where we discuss all that and decide if
Okay.
the council wants to.
So maybe,
There might be staff recommendations out there, might be what this is, but I haven't,
okay,
we haven't.
I didn't know,
That's the comparison from FY 25, FY 26, right?
okay.
So we don't need to be concerned with this at this moment. Okay. Anything else?
Not for me.
Okay. Ron?
The only thing, I was just gonna give an update on the honeysuckle sweep. I thought it was very successful. You can tell a definite difference in the park. And then we were able to get about 200 trees and shrubs in the ground at Harvard Park. So,
Right.
very, very successful day and staff was really impressed and they're like, we really did get something done, so.
That's a good
They
thing.
did seem happy at that.
Yeah. But other than that,
Okay. It's not any traction with people signing up for Green Our City initiative.
So that goes back to, I think, we had a discussion, Ms. Coyne and I, about the Green House City. So a few things, I actually won't be at the commission meetings any longer after this one.
Sorry.
Because I am phased out, and so I'm in another commission now, so but I will certainly work with James and Yvonne to support our programs. And the Green Our City this year, our discussion was not to have a planting event, but rather do education activities. And not a program event. We would continue, well, we didn't do it in the past. I understand the Public Works Department in terms of planting much. But we have some trees that we can plant this year. And so starting in 2026, continue the program. One of the things that's happening internally is that the city arborist position will not be housed anymore in the Public Works Department. And so Parks and Recreation Department is gonna hire a city arborist, and they will take on the responsibility of all trees within Webster Grove. So there won't be a distinction between city right-of-way trees and park trees and private trees. And so, but that's still going on, and so that's not gonna happen probably too quickly, as quickly as we wanted to. So in the interim, Public Works Department will still work with Parks and Rec in that spring. And so that's what's going on right now as for the GOC. So what we said was continue receiving any requests for trees. These requests are within the public right of way, and we would respond to those with our planting activities. And so not a citizen planting program this year at least. And so that's the suggestion, as far as I gather from our meeting, Ms. Cohen. And so do that this year and start strong in 2026, like for another year for that. And hopefully by then the setup will be complete, and so we will know who's doing what in terms of, we know who's doing what, but it will be fully staffed come.
Yeah,
2026.
It seemed like, given the time frame of where we are, that there will, per what we've done in the past, there's just not enough time to get the arborist out, take a look at every location, make sure we're selecting the right trees, and then purchasing the right trees as well. I think our timeline was a little too short for that. Because we haven't had, I think things have been in flux a little bit over in Public Works. So I thought it was a positive thing generally that the arborist might change him to Parks and Rec, just because I know Yvonne's background is trees, but I'm a little concerned, and you might know the answer to this, but is that position going to be funded as like a city arborist position?
Yes.
It is, so it'll be advertised as the city arborist, and do you know what the pay rate's gonna be for that? Cause I mean, I think that's like a $80,000 position, and most municipalities that I'm aware of. Like Kirkwood, city arborist, I know, you city did too. I think it'd be good to make sure that that person is qualified to take care of the community for us, but also is gonna be compensated appropriately and be able to have that expertise in the community force is huge, and we've, just put it frankly, we've been neglecting it for 8 years. So there's a lot of work to be caught up on, and I don't see Yvonne's crew being able to do that. I mean, if it's just the tree guy from Public Works, I mean, they had multiple jobs. This is bigger than just that person from Public Works coming over.
Yeah, the arborist will be, the arborist in the past took care of all trees that were outside of the parks.
Right.
The Parks Department took care of trees that were inside of the parks.
Right.
But now it'll be the city arborist will take care of all trees. They'll work together with Yvonne's crews on a schedule, but it would be the arborist would be obviously the main one taking care of the trees.
Right.
And then the Parks Department staff would aid in that support.
Okay. I guess I
Just like they did at Public Works, but it'd just be parks.
But in Public Works, it was the arborist. He did that part-time. I mean, mostly part-time. I think he just removed trees mostly. And then he had 2 people on a crew with him. That was the tree crew, as I understand it.
The groundskeeper are certainly needed. And so, and in the beginning, we have an understanding between the departments that we would be supporting the groundwork of the arborist, the newly hired arborist, until they get trained completely, then they can.
But there won't be any additional staff. I guess is what I'm concerned about is there's not a priority, it hasn't been prioritized, and I know you're coming into this brand new than you were here before, but yeah, I think I would like to draft a letter, maybe.
And it's still a work in motion too. We haven't even posted the job either, so.
Oh, so I think maybe to get,
Things that's still fluid.
sure, but to get out there ahead of what you guys are posting to maybe make a recommendation about. This, about what it could be for the city and that it could be handled more like Youth City was, which I know, Sanana's familiar with, or like Kirkwood. This is just such an important asset that has been neglected for a while. And I think this is a great opportunity to make sure that, that we're getting things on the right track, back on track.
I'll go.
So you'll draft a letter?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll think about something. And when do you think that person's gonna be hired?
We haven't even posted it yet, so there.
But I mean, I guess what I would like to do is see the posting before it goes out. I know this isn't.
I don't know that that's in our purview.
Right.
It's a commission to
No.
review staff posting.
But we could make recommendations for what we feel should be taking place.
You can write whatever kind of
Yeah.
letter you would like.
I'm sort of curious as to what, we had our neighbor next door. They came by and cut the tree down. It was like in the space between the sidewalk and the street. It seemed like a perfectly healthy street. But they came and cut it down and dug out the root. And, I don't know why it's always disease for me. Like I said, I'm not an expert on that. But it looked like it was okay. And I don't understand, is there a problem in the city that you're?
Oh, I'm very concerned about the number of trees that have come down over the last decade, as long as I've lived here. Due to development and aging, and there's been, other than what GSAC has done, there's been no tree planting.
Just coming down on their own. And
But due to age, there's also disease issues that have been impacting the city, Emerald Ash Borer.
Okay.
And some other things, but then development too has compromised a lot of big trees.
And I've always heard that dead trees are home to a lot of wildlife and stuff like that.
Well, they are, but they're a liability too, right?
They can be a lot.
Yeah.
It's
But
really-
unless the city's planning, for planting new trees while all these old trees are coming down, we're not gonna have any trees left for anybody.
So would you be okay working on a draft of the letter and we'll talk about it next month?
Yeah, I'm just need to compose myself.
I'm good at wordsmithing,
Yeah,
can be exhausting with wordsmithing.
Or like we did.
and this might be something. Yeah, I'll just get back to you on what I was saying. What were you saying? It's not, it was
Like
like,
we did, would you exchange, it's like with James, so.
yeah,
And so they are informed of your proposed changes to, I think the position is the same. I think it's changing with the city others.
so that, okay.
That will be fine with James.
I'm sorry, that's actually hit for each other.
So I think some comments I've heard about it are, so Andre filled us in and some of the, what would be a good thing to have on the job description and such, is that, like, if we want to come up with a forestry master plan or something like that, that the position is not prepared for that, developed
Right.
for that. And so, but again, there are ways to do it. The city arborist doesn't always have to do it. They can oversee it. The consultant can do it for you. And some of those are like financial decisions too. I think there's a lot that
Sure.
can be considered with it too.
Can I ask a question? I don't know, this maybe. Are there maps of our forested areas and places where there are trees? Are there fairly detailed maps of where the trees are? And what conditions they're in? Or is that sort of thing?
Not up to date.
They're not up to date.
There
That
was,
would be a start.
well, there was a,
I sent it, the city has, GIS on, computers that show everything. That would be a good, like, layer to have in there.
Exactly.
Arborists that get hired.
I would think that the first thing to do is to have an inventory of exactly what we have.
well, about 10 years ago, there was an inventory done. the city got a grant for that from the Missouri Department of Conservation, but that inventory
It's
has,
out of date.
I know that whole thing was being reviewed. Scott said they were looking at that whole process to see the
I
inventory.
mean, not just publicly owned trees, but trees on private property too, because it's all part of the entire canopy.
yeah, I don't know.
That wouldn't be part of the tree
It
inventory.
wouldn't be connected, but so much of it is private. Right?
Not on our agenda, but I have a question. Is anybody interested in being in the 4th of July party? Myself to be out of town.
Usually in the Democratic Club.
So we're gonna kind of release that. Okay, and Snan, did I understand you won't be here next month?
Correct.
So I wanna thank you for
Oh, thank
being
you.
here.
Yeah.
It's been
Again,
great. Yeah.
Thanks for
It's been
the
a
signs,
pleasure.
and we're looking forward to this.
But in terms of the GOC, we are not stopping receiving requests. So, and I've been keeping a tally on that, and so we're open to receiving more requests. And so we'll respond to them as Public Works Department or in coordination with James's department. And so hopefully 2026 will be a new start in the program for the citizen related activities as well. So,
It's been a pleasure.
yeah, thank you.
So our next meeting will be June 2nd, 5 o'clock, this very room. And I move to adjourn. Second.
It's